Hey everyone, we want to give you a quick update to our special and conference meetings for September 12th, 2011 of the Board of Trustees. We had a couple announcements before we got started Monday night. The first one, the Main Street Farmers Market every Wednesday, 2 to 7 p.m. Just want to make sure to remind people about that. That's in the parking lot off of 1st Street and Sloane Street downtown. There's a free electronic drop-off day, and that is Saturday, September 17th from 8 a.m. to noon. At the Public Works Garage. And there is one more container day for Saturday, September 24th from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Same rules always apply, 2 proofs of residency, and obviously for South Orange residents only. There are fall art classes at the Baird, and you can learn a little bit more about those and sign up at thebaird.org. I also wanted to make sure to thank our departments and volunteers and residents and everybody that helped us make it through the storm, Hurricane Irene, okay. Obviously, there were a handful of residents without power for a somewhat extended period of time. We were in close contact with PSE&G, making sure to get those back online as soon as possible. And our Public Works and Fire Department especially, they were in police and rescue squad. They were all out, making sure that we were all right during the storm. And we got our roads open, pretty quickly. So I really want to thank everybody for working hard to keep this town safe during that. I also want to thank the residents and volunteers who helped organize memorial events for September 11th. We had a handful of some really nice events that I think allowed South Orange residents to remember and reflect and come together as a community. So thank you everybody for helping to organize those. One more announcement is that we'll have a special meeting this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. here in Village Hall. There'll be a very quick executive session of the Board of Trustees and then a public meeting to announce and vote on the contract and terms for administrative consulting services and CFO services. And that is this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. in Village Hall. We had a presentation from Adam Lerner from Seton Hall, who spoke a little bit about some of the projects that they're working on and some more of the partnerships between Seton Hall and South Orange. I thank Adam for coming out to a board meeting to talk about those. You can see a little bit more about all the different the bulleted items in our minutes. And of course, if you want to look at the full video of the meeting, you can do so also on the website at southorange.org. We promoted a sergeant, a police officer to sergeant, Brian McGuire. Congratulations. Now being Sergeant Brian McGuire of the South Orange Police Department. There'll be a formal ceremony, I believe, our next meeting. Congratulations again on that. We approved our minutes and then moved on to the budget discussion and adoption. We adopted our budget for 2011. Hopefully next year we're going to be able to get this process finished up a little bit sooner. Obviously it's late in the game, it's September, and we're adopting September of 2011, and we're adopting the 2011 budget. But I do want to commend the Board of Trustees for making structural changes. When we took at our last round of budget workshops, the increase is going to be about 2%, and the increase that falls under the 2% cap was actually at about negative 1.8%, with the costs outside of cap, pension, healthcare, beyond that, which levels out to around 2%. So I just really want to thank people for making smart, long-term, medium-term financial decisions to not use up our surplus money that we would need come an emergency, and that of course cutting those items out of the budget means that they won't be back next year, whereas using the surplus means that they will be back next year, and we have to make the same difficult decision. So we did approve that, our budget, and we had a couple ordinances up for first reading, none of which passed, and the one that I do want to make a quick comment on is the ordinance about political lawn signs. Basically that arose during the campaign season. I brought to the attention of the village that ordinance requiring that you file a permit and pay a fee to put up political lawn signs was unconstitutional. Although village council has conclusively told the board that this ordinance is unconstitutional, we have yet to be able to get this past first reading. Do want to make it clear that this administration will not enforce this ordinance whatsoever. It is unconstitutional and again will not be enforced. We moved on to our public comment period. I really don't like trying to categorize people's opinions through my own words. So if you want to see the public comments, both from the budget period public comments and the general public comments, I would urge you to go online and look up the video of the meeting, and or look at the minutes from our meeting to see the official record of what was said. We had 25 resolutions on consent agenda, one which we had to do a roll call vote as opposed to a voice vote, so we voted on separately. We did pass those resolutions on the consent agenda, and like always, you'll be able to see those scrolling on the screen, so if you want to see any one in particular, you can pause it there. The one that I do always like to mention is the items that were on executive session. That's the last item on our consent agenda, so I will read those executive session agenda items now. It was 3rd Street Green Acres property purchase and Chisowitz Field, which both fall under the exception of purchase, lease, or acquisition of real property for a closed meeting. An OPIU contract, New Market Tax Settlement Offer, Sterling Pilot, Macklin versus East Orange Water Commission, Code Enforcement Shared Services Agreement, Firehouse Accountability, and a tort claim dated August 1st. Those fall under pending or anticipated litigation or contractor attorney-client matters. We also had some employment-related items, volunteer appointments, an employee grievance, CFO administrator negotiations, the IT department, and the Department of Public Works. So again, those last ones were employment-related exceptions. Again, we did move on to approve our consent agenda, and then one of the appointments that I can make as village president is the OEM coordinator, with Administrator John Gross stepping down as administrator, who also currently serves as OEM coordinator. I appointed myself as OEM coordinator going forward. I'm excited to be able to do some emergency management work. I've been serving as the deputy OEM coordinator. Obviously, emergency management as a field that I study in graduate school with my master's degree, a field I work in from the rescue squad and from CERT, and I'm really excited to be able to work on some interesting projects now as the OEM coordinator. I'm working very closely with our deputy coordinators, our police chief and fire chief, and other public safety personnel. Our agenda on Monday night took a little bit of a different format. Instead of doing a point-by-point update from every single committee, we sent out the minutes from all the previous meetings of each committee beforehand to the board, so they could digest the information, and if they have any questions, we could bring it up during the conference agenda. Right now, you can go onto the website to southorange.org and find those minutes of every single committee meeting and take a look through them yourself. And what we're going to try and do is provide the same one-stop shop, easy access to one document with all of the minutes from every committee on the website. We're just looking into the best way to provide that information, but that should be coming soon to make it even more easy to keep on top of what projects the committees are working on. So we went through some very brief updates there, and we got to one of the points that a lot of people have been asking about, which is the progress of the search committee. On September 6th, John Gross formally submitted his resignation, which the village accepted as administrator, and we have a search committee that has been looking at kind of two different processes. One is what we're going to do in the interim. The process, the timeline for finding a permanent administrator can easily be 3 months to 6 months. So making sure that we have someone to transition immediately is extremely important. We intend to have a interim administrator start before October 1st so that there's an overlap period where they can start to pick up some of the projects that we're working on right now. And that interim person will be here and will work on some projects with us that the search committee has been designating. And then will also potentially help us with a search process. So we haven't quite gotten to the point where we're looking at, well, what are we going to do to find a permanent administrator? Making sure that we have someone to start before October 1st is the first priority. And once we get that squared away, which is what the meeting on Thursday night is partially for, then we'll be able to move forward with finding a permanent person to fill the administrator position. This appointment is a village president appointment. It's advice and consent. So instead of me going and picking each of the candidates and going to the board afterwards, we have an advisory search committee that's made up of Trustee Deborah Davis Ford, who's chair of the Legal and Personnel Committee, Trustee Howard Levison, Trustee Nancy Gould, and our village clerk and village council. And this committee together will do the search and interview the candidates and make sure that when we present the candidates to the board, that there's already been an inclusive process. This is obviously a very important position, and we have an aggressive goal here to try and have someone start by January 1st as the permanent administrator. It's looking more likely like February 1st, but we're still going to shoot for the first of the new year and really kind of get moving from there. The interim person will serve in the administrator capacity until then, and then help us transition to the permanent person as well. Those meetings will all be posted on the website when and where they are, and although most of them will be in closed session because we're interviewing candidates and talking directly about personnel issues. But again, the minutes from those meetings will be posted and available, and we'll keep the community updated about our progress. Trustee Goldberg gave a quick update from the Special Improvement District Advisory Committee and informed the board that the committee will be making a formal presentation to the board about their findings from this extensive process of looking at how we best support the downtown and whether a special improvement district is the right way to do that. We also had a brief conversation about a community development block grant application that we're going to try and get in as soon as possible. So again, I hope these updates have been interesting and informative, and if you have any questions about anything, please drop me an email at atorpey@southorange.org. You can always look at the videos of the full meetings. Again, I can't cover everything in a short 10-minute update, so there were certainly pieces that you may want to check out from the full video. And when the minutes are available online, you can look at those too. And both of those will provide, obviously an extremely extensive and accurate view of what happens. So thank you for tuning in to this update. And please, again, feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.